Hey guys, it's T and welcome back to another not Vlogmas video. This video is gonna be a little bit more serious and a little bit more personal. So yeah, this is me opening up. As you can see from the title, this video is called Why I Stopped Writing and is basically gonna tell you why I stopped writing, at least professionally. There was a period where I was writing semi-professionally. I had gotten a novel self-published. I also had 3 short stories and a poem published. And that was in the span of a year and a half. This was after I successfully completed my first NaNoWriMo, which for those of you who don't know is National Novel Writing Month. Basically how that works in the month of November, you write a novel, 50,000 words, by the end of November, and if you can successfully do that, then you completed the challenge. The first book that I wrote was for NaNoWriMo, and I ended up getting that self-published. And then I had those other pieces published as well. That wasn't kind of the first time I got published. I did do some freelance writing. I did some ghostwriting as well. So I have lots of things floating out in the ether. But I was really proud of these because the rest was nonfiction, and nonfiction, anyone can write something decent provided a decent understanding of how grammar and things like that work, and decent research skills. So the nonfiction stuff, it was cool to have that published and everything like that, but all of the fiction stuff mattered more to me because that's kind of where my heart lies, especially speculative fiction. I really enjoy doing that. Even though when I do that, it kind of starts out as horror and then morphs into speculative fiction. But anyway, in that time span, I was also writing other short stories, and I had also kind of 2 other books written after that. The one was a YA novel about a kid whose father had passed away suddenly, and he moved schools, and he was encountering bullying. He was getting bullied, his friends were getting bullied, and things like that, and shit kind of got dark. I really liked that. A lot of people said that was probably one of the best things that I've done for people who, were beta reading it and stuff. And this was I guess the span of maybe a year or 2 after my initial publishing. I was still trying to get published, and I was still throwing short stories out there, but the stories were getting rejected, things were falling through. And so in between me trying to write other short stories and get those published, I worked on that novel, and then I worked on another novel, which was a collaboration with a friend of mine. We were going to do a series together. We had split it up to where it was going to be pretty much a large number of books, the ones that he was going to work on encompass a different aspect. I was going to work on another side of it, kind of more a science fiction-y side, and somehow they were going to intersect and meet in the middle. So I decided to work on that, and it was kind of a disaster. It was bad. No one really wanted to tell me it was bad at the time. They were just are you sure you want to do this one? You want to focus so much time and energy on getting this one published? It needs a lot of work. But I don't know, for some reason I was really stuck on making that one work, even though now I realize that it was a dumpster fire. But yeah, so I was basically in editing hell with that one. I had the YA novel done, finished. I had edited enough to where I was satisfied with it, and I could have gotten that published, but I was nope. I was being stubborn. I wanted to have what I wanted to have published. So I spent a lot of the time and energy kind of needlessly on that. At the same time, I'm working on these short stories, trying to get them published and in collections. and I'm being rejected left, right, left, right, left, right, just nothing but rejections, and it was really disheartening. At the same time, there was this other writer who I wasn't really friends with, but I was somewhat acquaintances of. Like, we followed each other on social media, we had bare minimum interactions with each other, but I always thought, and this is going to sound cunty now, but I always thought she was mediocre, like, but she was getting all these, like, residency. She got a residency, which is basically where they put you at like a college or another institution. It doesn't necessarily have to be a college, but it can be like another kind of institution. You basically get to stay there, and you get to write whatever you want to write, or whatever they kind of steer you towards. And they give you like money for that. Sometimes they just sometimes they just pay for where you stay and, kind of food and things like that. She did end up getting that residency, and I think I applied for it too, and I didn't get it, obviously. And I was like, well, that's pretty shitty. And she also was getting all this praise and all of these things published, and I was like getting kind of mad and jealous about it, because I was like, I'm just as good as her. I'm better than her. Why don't I have all this shit? Meanwhile, I'm getting rejected left and right. What the fuck? At that time, I didn't really stop to think and realize that we were essentially writing different things, and she was a little bit better about promotion and social media than I ever was. Like, I was never the best at networking and social media. At that time, I did have a pretty good network, but not a lot of people in higher places that could help me. So it was mainly people on my level or below, and like a few other people with more advanced careers. But she seemed to know kind of a lot of bigger people, and I'm not saying that's why she got all of the things she got. Everyone's talented in their own way, and social media networking is just a part of it. And so if she didn't have the chops, obviously she wouldn't have gotten where she is now, or what she did get at that time, if she wasn't deserving of it. But at the time, jealousy is a green-eyed monster. I just couldn't see it. When all that was happening, my mom suddenly fell like super ill. She had been battling cancer off and on for several years, and it had spread to her brain. And then things just kind of went downhill very quickly. I was still somewhat writing at that time, still trying to get published, but it was harder because I was working a lot to kind of make up for her not working. And then also, visiting her in the hospital when I could. I had to take time off and stuff as well for if she needed to go to like medical appointments, or if she was having a procedure or things like that. As you guys know, she did pass away, and it's been pretty hard for me to write ever since. I did write something for, the program for when she passed away, like a little poem or whatever. And I just haven't seriously written since then. I've written a few things. Like, I wrote all three of the things that I wrote for the Halloween special that you guys heard. I wrote all three of those. But the first one and the last one, I wrote specifically for it just recently. And I do, write other things from time to time, somewhat. Well, I used to be active within the fan fiction community, not so much anymore. And then every once in a while, I'll do something for fun if the mood strikes me, but I can't bring myself to do it for an extended period of time because it just makes me sad. She was my biggest supporter, my biggest fan. She'd always be like, oh, what are you working on? Are you working on anything? Tell me about it. Show me it. If I was having trouble with a concept or an idea or something like that, she would help me out. She would be like, oh, well, you could do this or you could do that. I remember this one time I was writing a story and I needed to kill someone in the story. And I was like, I don't know really how to kill this person. And she was like, well, what do you have? What were you thinking? And she helped me out with it. Like, she seriously put thought into it and helped me out. And she was always pushing my books to people. She was always like telling people that I was published and everything like that. And really nice to have that support, and then to suddenly have that kind of ripped away kind of sucks, you know? So I haven't really seriously done any writing. I would like to get back into it. Like I said, right now it's just kind of too painful, but we're making progress. We're making baby steps. I did manage to do those 2 stories for the Halloween special without falling apart. So, I mean, that's something, right? So, yeah. Basically, I was a jealous bitch. And then, grief has kind of prevented me from moving forward with any kind of writing career. I mean, I'm kind of at peace with that right now. I mean, I would have loved things to be a little bit different. I'm not too old yet, so maybe things could be different now. But for right now, getting my addictions counselor certification, having my bachelor's degree in psych, like, those are all great for me because I really love psychology. So that's also my passion. So it's okay. I'm okay with everything. But anyway, yeah, sorry if this got a little too dark, a little too sad. I promise the next episode will not be so emotional. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.